I saw Soccer putting on the fucking thing as soon as we went into the countdown. Just saw putting.
Just fuck's sake.
Someone had a very, very good weekend, didn't they? I think.
Oh, all right. How's things? Okay.
He's loving life. He's loving life. Good weekend, Soccer.
Good weekend, yeah, not bad, not quite enough. Just saying.
Be still, my beating heart. Be still, champers.
Oh God.
Nice bottle of Grand for you there.
Yeah. Budget on a budget. Ty, you're wearing nice jersey there as well.
Yeah, just arrived today. I thought I'd flex some, match worn by Ian Wright in the Senate Data Systems Cup final.
So real LOI show today.
Yeah.
Don't know where Soccer's popped off to, but listen.
You don't need them.
Back with episode, I think it's 17 of Cautiously Optimistic tonight, guys. Hope you're all keeping well. If you can smash 50 likes on the stream, that would be fantastic. And can we hit 2,640 subscribers on stream as well? That'd be ace if you can do that. So yeah, all your support is greatly appreciated. You can also drop a super chat, which is just a small donation to the channel. If you want to ask a question or just leave a comment on what we're going to be talking about, lots to get through on tonight's show. So we're excited to get into it all. I hope you all had a nice weekend. Chelsea fans, I'd imagine, did. If there's any watching. But yeah, we'll jump straight in, lads. Obviously last week we kind of touched on it briefly on the senior squad that was announced on the Monday. Obviously we did the live streams for the matches instead of Cautiously Optimistic, but we'll just go through them again. There's been a couple of changes as well to the side. First of all, actually, before we jump into it, Socko, you got to chat to Stephen Kenny over the weekend. How was that?
Yeah, really enjoyable. It was my first time kind of doing proper Ireland press conferences for extra time. I felt very privileged and got a question in with him towards the end after Tony O'Donoghue and proper professionals had their chance first. But it was really good. He, we all know, he takes his time a bit in press conferences. He thinks his answers through, and he's very considered, and kind of there's no bullshit about him, Kind of, I believe anyway, he means what he says. He's very, very honest. We'll come on to it later, but he talked about a few absentees and a few injuries, and if we were going to Euros in a few weeks' time, would a few more players have been available to him? That's a question. But yeah, he covered all sorts of stuff in the interview, and I just got a question in with him about the young players he's bringing through. It's 13 debuts. He's given in 11 games. Really enjoyable.
That's not even including the Andorra game where there'll probably be more debuts given.
Yes, I say so. We see. Well, it's up for who got their call. Obviously, Sam. Do you know how to say his second name? I don't want to butcher it.
Sammy Smodzik or something.
Smodzik, yeah.
Something like that, Hungarian second name.
Yeah, along with Mandrew, Ogbene McGrath, and who was the fourth? Oma Bamdile. So hopefully it'll be cool. Hopefully it'll be cool to see 2 or 3 debuts. You'd imagine there'd be more debuts on Thursday compared to the Hungary game,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, it is the Hungary game, isn't it?
Yeah, Hungary.
Yeah. Just looking at the squad, obviously Randolph's has dropped out, so it looks like Kelleher will be the number 1. Bazunu and Travers has been brought in as well. Obviously, kind of a no-brainer bringing Travers in as the third choice.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, you get the minutes in. It'd be a bit harsh now if you let him out. He's probably not going to play at all. I imagine he'd give Kelleher a game and then Bazunu a game. Probably. I don't know whether he wants to just stick to one keeper because, I mean, come September, you don't know if Randolph's still going to be there. So maybe he wants to just stick with Kelleher if he thinks he's the best option. But I think it's more than likely he'll give them both a game.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. Moving to the defence, then obviously Seamus Cohen, Matt Doherty, kind of no-brainers. Then you've got Leo Connor, which is an interesting one. I probably wouldn't have had him in myself. I know Kenny has a relationship with him from the under-21s, but I think there's possibly players that could have been more deserving. League Two players never really a good look in your senior side either. I know he's on up from Celtic, but played his football in League Two this season. I know he's a good handy player, can play across the back four as well, and probably he's a good skin as well. But it's not a great look, I don't think, having a League Two player in your squad. I don't think.
Yeah, it's strange because I was thinking at the time maybe he's not calling up another League or Ireland player. Like if he called up like the Scales or something like that, they'd be taking everything. But they're actually on the season break now, aren't they? So
Yeah.
they could have actually gone and played and then came back to their club. So maybe there's some players that are more deserving of it. But as you said, like had him on under 21s, he obviously knows what he's about and thinks he deserves it. So it's fair enough, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously, Enda Stevens is one of the names that's part of like a long list of absentees. So James McLean's been included as a defender, obviously possibly looking to play in maybe a left wing back role. Ryan Manning brought in for that kind of area to pitch as well. And then centre backs, Shane Duffy, Dara O'Shea, John Egan, and Oma Bamadile. It's good to see Oma Bamadile getting the call up, isn't it? I think it's good, well deserved, and it's a good opportunity for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think Kenny was well aware of him before. Getting his first call up there. I mean, he's at a super season. Like we've all kind of seen bits and pieces and highlights on Twitter. Norwich he's with, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. He's been an absolute rock there, and he's 18, isn't he?
Yeah,
18. I think he's only 18. Yeah.
When you sent the picture of a few videos of him, I couldn't believe he was 18. Like,
yeah, he looks older. Yeah.
Yeah. So debut for him on Thursday was super. Like, but Kenny spoke very, very highly of him on Saturday.
Yeah. Another one, I think Nathan Collins is injured at the moment, but possibly I think he probably would have got a call up. Centre half, young defender at Stoke. He's been linked to the likes of Burnley, to Crystal Palace, even Arsenal at one stage were linked to them as well. So it'll be exciting to get him in. And it looks like it's a good crop of centre backs coming through. Even Jake O'Brien, former Cork City player over with Crystal Palace now. He's the captain of the under-23s, I think, Tig, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been playing under 23s, and I think they won, it was a playoff. They won to get promoted into the next division, and that was their first season as well. So yeah, promising things from him as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of really, really promising defenders coming through. We'll look at the under-21 squad in a minute. In the midfield, then we've got Josh Cullen, Conor Horahan, Harry Arter, Jason Knight, Jason Malumbi, Jamie McGrath, and Danny Mandrew. The first two that come to mind, or that kind of stand out there, would be McGrath and Mandrew. They're players we need as well, according to Oisín, creative midfielders. Them two with Cullen and Malumbi in midfield will be very strong on Thursday. I don't think he'll fit both McGrath and Mandrew into the starting lineup. I think it's probably one or the other. But nonetheless, it's great to see them both in the squad, and I'd say both will probably feature at some stage.
Yeah, you can definitely see one of them starting and then maybe the other one coming on for them, especially in the Andorra game. Like, it's definitely worth giving them a run out. I mean, McGrath's definitely earned it. I mean, you look at some of our players that aren't playing much football, and he's there scoring goals from midfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's such a problem area for us. Like, so yeah, finally earned his call up, and hopefully he gets a few minutes in. I mean, he's probably good enough to play against Hungary as well. I mean, was it Brown started a few games for us in the 10? Like, I mean,
yeah,
what's he got that McGrath doesn't, like,
yeah, I think it's 16, 17 goals from midfield and like 40 odd appearances for St. Mirren. But obviously Kenny had McGrath at Dundalk, but he kind of said last week, I think it was with the Irish Times, we haven't had a traditional number 10 in the squad for some time. We had Jack Byrne, but he likes to come in back into midfield and make passes. In terms of a number 10, we've players like Brown, Malumbi or Knight, but they're traditional attacking midfield players. They're not natural number 10s as such. But Jamie and Danny Mandrew are both very much so. And yeah, Kenny spoke very highly of McGrath and vice versa in the press conferences on Saturday. So yeah, it'd be really cool to see him kind of make his debut. McGrath spoke a lot about how Stephen Kenny pushed him a lot at his time at Dundalk when Jamie McGrath arrived. He said for his first season he kind of wanted to just play it safe and kind of just settle in okay, and he did. But it was really interesting. Kenny McGrath said Kenny used to get him at halftime and kind of give out to him and say, like, stop passing sideways, stop passing backwards. Like, I want you to lose the ball. I want you to try and make things happen, pass the ball forward. And McGrath said he was very, very grateful. He pushed him to just get more out of himself, and not just play it safe all the time, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and obviously we mentioned Lenny says it's pronounced Schmodics. So he's brought up Schmodics. That's going to be a hard one to pronounce, isn't it? Schmodics into the squad. He's
Lenny could be having a song completely as well.
Yeah.
Could be going on completely.
It's the first time in a while it's a player's been called up to the Ireland squad that I haven't actually heard of before, to be honest with you. Obviously, he was at Peterborough in League One. Big part to play in their promotion from League One. I think he's got 15 goals, 8 assists. And it looks like Kenny is looking towards those kind of midfielders that are goal scorers with the likes of Mandrew, McGrath, and Schmodics now as well. All of them. Mandrew has an eye for a goal as well. So, yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting that these type of players are going to be in the squad, and it's interesting. We're going to probably do maybe an Andorra. It's Andorra Thursday. When's the Hungary game as well? Is that the weekend?
Thursday, Tuesday,
like Friday there, yeah. So maybe Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, so we'll probably do previews for those games. Maybe do like a starting 11 prediction or something, so we can go into it more then. But be excited to look at how he kind of lines the midfield up and what formation he will play. The forwards in the squad: Robinson, who is actually gone now. I think he's out with an injury. James Collins, Adam Ida, Aaron Connolly, who's also now gone. It seems to be the same people gone every time, isn't it? Randolph, Robinson, and Connolly. Parrott's in there. Chidozie Ogbenny's in there, former Limerick player. He's with Rotherham, I think it is, isn't it? I think it's Rotherham, someone like that. Ronan Curtis and Daryl Horgan as well in the side. So good to see Ogbenny in there, probably the one that you wouldn't have expected to see in there. Good for him to get a chance.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to find the quote here. It's really interesting what Stephen Kenny said about him. I'll find it in a while, but basically he kind of mentioned he probably would have called him up earlier, but FIFA changed their rules recently where I think it's you have to live in the country. He's Nigerian descent.
Since you're before you're 7 or something like that, and then
yeah,
he literally was there when he was 7. He lived in Cork his whole life, like
one or I'm not sure. It might be parent of his is a Nigerian, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Kenny said the FIFA rule changed that under the age of 10 you had to live in the country continuously for 3 years. They changed that recently, and Stephen Kenny was pretty angry about that, and he said, like, if you have an Irish passport, you're Irish. Like, it doesn't matter if you've lived here for like 2 years or 10 years. And it pissed him off, to be honest, that he had to wait so long. And it came down to the fact that they'd someone from the FEI going to his school and going through his school records and going through his like club records to try and prove to FIFA that like he was Irish. So like absolutely mad, but finally brilliant for him to get the call up. I'm just trying to find the quote here. The 20 yeah.
It's exciting seeing those kind of players coming up and more strikers and stuff getting international experience. Like hopefully one of them kind of takes the reins. I mean, I like good to see Ida back as well. I mean, hopefully, imagine he's going to be playing the most minutes out of them, like, because he does like him a lot. And I mean, what's the point of giving the likes of Collins minutes now? Like, you're better off giving it to Ida and Parrott and Ogbenny, as you mentioned. Like,
Yeah,
I think Ida's probably the most promising prospect, isn't he? I think out of the bunch, I'd say Ida would be the
he's
one.
just unfortunate, like, with how well his team is doing. Like, I mean, if Pookie got an injury or whatever, and maybe he would have been playing a bit more, but he just was banging them in for Norwich all season, like, so.
Yeah.
Do you think you could do a move?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, probably do with getting championship football, like, even.
I think he's more than capable as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
It reminded me of Jane McGrath said there that when he was out of contract in Dundalk, like a lot of English clubs were like trying to get him to sign, but he didn't get a good vibe off the managers. He knew if he signed, he wasn't going to get regular game time. A lot of the reason he went to Scotland to get regular game time. And I think a player his age, like, it kind of does you a bit of harm if you're sitting on the bench for so long, you know.
100%. 100%.
Listen, we're putting a bit of a positive spin on this squad. It's not great, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not excited for these games at all. But there's no point being negative about it now. Like, I mean, what's done is done. Like, the results that we've had in the past are gone. We might as well move on, and hopefully we see some good signs from these 2 games and shows for the future. But other than that, it's a bit bleak.
Yeah, like looking at the likes of Ronan Curtis, Daryl Horgan, it doesn't inspire much. Like, excitement or confidence. But I'm excited to see the likes of Amabama Dele, Mandrew McGrath, and Ogbene, maybe Ida as well, because you haven't seen an awful lot of Ida either.
I like the idea of McLean and left back or left wing back as well. Like, I mean, I think his problem is if he gets the ball 10 times on the left wing, it's the same thing every time. Like, he's going to try to go do a step over, beat the man, and whip it in. If he only gets it 2 or 3 times, maybe the defender isn't going to aware it's going to happen or something like that. So if he's getting it 10 times, I mean, let's be honest, he's not that creative. Like, I mean, he's decent in the left wing. He's okay. He does a job. But,
decent delivery. Like,
if he's kind of, and he works his socks off. Like, so
absolutely.
Left back at least to be up and down the line, like doing his best. And that's all you can ask, I suppose.
Sure. In the last, I think the last window in March, Serbia, Luxembourg. Who's the Stoke manager? Is Michael O'Neill?
Yeah.
Pretty much said in the press like he's not fit to play for Ireland, and then I think it was a foot injury he had. Took a lot of pain injections, and I'm not sure if he played against Serbia. I think he played against Luxembourg, and so he'll give you 100%. Like, and he seems to be fit enough now with this window, so he'll do a job off the bench.
Definitely.
Some mouthpieces going up in the chat here.
Was so I'm trying to share the screen to get the Irish under 21 squad. So did it pop on the screen?
What? Oh yeah, I think you got something up there. Yeah. Is it Pornhub tab open or something?
But yeah, I'm just trying to get the under 21 squad up because it's actually quite. I think they lost the first game, didn't they? To
2-0, yeah.
To Switzerland, I think, wasn't it? Which is a bit of a shame. But definitely. It's an exciting squad that they put together. I think I might be able to get it now. 1 second. Just bear with. We're trying to get used to all this new bits and pieces. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. I think. Trying to share it, but
you had it up there. It was up.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's not let me be on stream here at the same time for some reason, so I'll just leave it. Sure, look. But I'll just read it out here. So Sam Blair in goal. He's a Norwich goalkeeper, but Brian Maher has been starting the games.
His save yesterday. Did you see it?
Great save, fantastic save. And Dan Rose from Schalke. Mad that he plays for Schalke. He's in the squad as a keeper as well. Then we've got at the back Festi Ibasele, Shane Flynn, Andy Lyons, Oisin McEntee, Mark McGuinness, Lewis Richards, and Sean Rowan. In midfield, we've got John Joe Patrick Finn was actually out. He has exams, so yes, he left the squad. He's with Getafe. Luca Connell, Connor Coventry, Dawson Devoy, Alex Gilbert, Connor Grant, Ryan Johansson, Connor Noss, and Louis Watson. Then the strikers, we got Jonathan Afalabi, Will Ferry, JJ Quixote, Gavin Kilkenny, Colin Whelan, and Tyreek Wright. So it's an interesting enough squad. They actually also brought in Ross Tierney from Bowes. He was drafted in. Anselmo Garcia McNulty, a centre back from Wolfsburg, and Bassoon Lawal as well was in the squad. So yeah, it's a good squad. It's cool to see like clubs like Mönchengladbach, Schalke, Sevilla. It's cool to see that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's happening a lot more now. People kind of making those moves over to Germany, and realizing England isn't the only option and stuff like that. So it's good for our players. I mean, if they're getting more game time over there or whatever, they're probably obviously not starting or whatever. But I mean, some of the setups over there are unbelievable, I'd say, and might be more beneficial for them to go over there. But I don't know about you, but I personally feel like I feel like we definitely had a stronger under 21 squad and before, like under Kenny anyway. And now that I think now that he's the senior manager, like we're kind of clutching at straws, and a few players that maybe aren't up to it now and are getting called up from the 21s. But still, nevertheless, there's still some exciting players in there. I mean, like the likes of Afalabi, I always thought he looked very decent. So hopefully, moving forward, they're going to be ready for the senior team soon. But I don't know. Don't know if you agree.
Yeah, it's tricky because a lot of the players that are in Kenny's squad now are eligible for the under 21. So it's like
exactly. So I think they're coming up. Yeah, it's just strange. Like I mean, all of our players that were like hitting the age of 29, 30 and all, like they're either just finished, like there's something like the likes of Brady and stuff like that. Their careers seem to be kind of coming to an end. So these players need to step up now. And I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know. Some of them maybe aren't really ready for it. Like
possibly because it's a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, that's was the piece that went up today on Extra Time I was kind of talking about, and my question to Kenny was that a week or two ago he mentioned that in the last 8 or 9 years there's only been one, maybe two players like brought into the senior side, so that when you look at that senior side now, I don't think there's any players between the ages like 20, 23 and 27, 28, like that. There's a already like 6, 7, 8 year, however way you want to see it, gap where like no one was brought through. Like I think under Trapp, Martin, and Mick there, like there was no one kind of brought through there, and where it's all just a load of young lads, kind of Kenny's crew, if you want to call them, and then like your McLean's, your Hendricks, your Brady's, your Longs, so I think that's a probably consequence of that. Puts a little bit more pressure. What
was the stat again? It was something like 2 players have been produced from Dublin in the past 8 years or something like that, and since they were born in whatever year, and it was like Burke and Jack Byrne or something like that.
Shocking statistic.
Not really. Yeah. So you can kind of feel the effects of that now. I think it's like such an age gap like in between. Like, there's no players there that are like in the in-between stage, just kind of hitting the prime of their career. It's either at the end or they're just kind of coming up from the youth, like, and kind of being asked a lot, like,
Yeah, absolutely. Oisin says Ed McGinty should be in the squad. To be fair, I don't know how he is. I think it's because he's too old. I think at this stage, I think he's 22. So he's not eligible for the next round to qualify for the next tournament, whatever it is.
He's finished.
He's finished. Chris says weather is unbelievable. Would you have this guy? He's out and about in the sun instead of showing commitment to the show, and his internet is dodgy in the house apparently as well. So I've heard it all now at this stage. Lenny, I don't know if this is like a trap or something, so I'm not gonna. I feel like that might be a trap. I don't think it is. I read it out a few times in my head, and I don't think it is. But I'm not taking any chances. No, that's a trap. But
I just it took me a second.
Before we jump into, actually, there's one more thing we want to talk about Ireland related, but before we jump into it, can we hit 50 likes on the stream, guys? Do really appreciate it if you can drop a like, and please do subscribe. As you can see on the bottom of the screen there, our target is 2,640 subscribers by the end of the stream. So if you can do that, it would be greatly appreciated. If you can drop a super chat as well, so it's a small donation to the channel, all that kind of support is greatly appreciated. But please do like and subscribe if you can. Big one, lads. The news at the moment is a lot of it is surrounding this young man, Mipo Odubeko, the West Ham footballer at 18 years of age, mainly features in the under 23 side, but has played a couple of times for the senior side as well, I believe. He's appeared for Ireland underage, and Jim Crawford has fielded a lot of questions about him this week, just regarding kind of what he left the squad last time. He was announced in the under 21 setup last time, but he withdrew himself from it and he wasn't involved in it this time. So a lot of questions were asked of Jim Crawford, and he kind of talked about how he still hasn't kind of made his mind up just yet. He's from Tala, born and raised in Tala, I believe. So Jim Crawford pointed towards looking at someone like Robbie Keane as an inspiration from a kid from that area going on to becoming a legend of the country. Like, look no further than that. It's just, that's such so inspirational, really. But at the same time, it doesn't look like he will commit his future to Ireland. Apparently his hesitation is due to a long-held frustration of not being picked for the under-17 Euros back in 2019. He is eligible for Nigeria and England. What do you think of that, lads, in terms of the hesitation over that? If you don't get picked for a squad, it's one of those things where I think it should make you more like kind of driven to be in the next one. That's a bad reaction.
I think it was a lot of things. It was to do with the fact that it was in Tala as well, wasn't it? Or was that
he lives around the corner?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously tough to take, but I mean, I suppose this is what football's about and stuff, setbacks and stuff like that. And if you don't make a squad, like you said, I must try and work harder and try to get there. It's obviously just frustrating, like, but makes you think, like, if you didn't make a squad, let's say in the senior team at some stage, would you just give up then or whatever? Like, I mean, you have to question the attitude there. I mean, it's a tough setback to take for any player, but like, all of a sudden, just because you don't get picked for a squad, you want to play for a different country, doesn't make much sense to me. Like,
no, absolutely not. Soccer, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I suppose two ways of looking at it, like you'd like to think ideally that if you didn't get a call up odd, that'll just make him more determined. But I suppose if you're that age and you want to be called up um by your country, did you say he was eligible for another country?
Nigeria and
and
England.
Nigeria and England, yeah. Like, would it pop into your mind that maybe I'll have a better chance over here? Obviously, it's very easy, like from an Ireland fan point of view, to say, "Oh, I'm on players that like it's not even a question. Like you're just there and you're on the first flight over, and like you shouldn't even think about it. It should just be an answer straight away." I suppose there's two ways of looking at it. There's the kind of rose-tinted spectacles way of looking at it, and maybe more real way of looking at it. But I suppose just time will tell, you know.
It's a strange one to me if he thinks he's worried about or he's annoyed about not getting picked for a squad and then he wants to go and try to play for England. Like, I mean, the competition over there is so much worse. I'm not sure about Nigeria, what their youth setup is like at the minute, but like,
yeah, I was probably thinking about Nigeria.
You imagine like this be his best course to stay with Ireland anyway, but I don't know. It's just a strange way to react about something that happened like that. Like, you'd imagine like a footballer mentality would be the opposite. Like, you're just frustrated, you want to work harder, but listen, I mean, each to their own, I guess.
Yeah. Deadman Walking says here, born and raised in Tala, played for Crumlin and Joey's. All his mates are Irish from Jobstown and Ballyfermot. Also, I think Jim Crawford is a Tala lad himself, as is Kenny, so they could use that pull that they're from the area and that they will try and help him out the best they can. It's not much on the England front, lads, trust me. It's more Nigeria is hovering over the situation very closely. I have heard that that Nigeria are looking at trying to convince Andrew Umabamadile and Jonathan Afolabi as well. It looks like obviously both of them are committed to the cause with Ireland, 100%. But it's interesting. I think Nigeria are looking closely at the three of those players in particular. I'm not sure if this is much of an indication to go off, lads. But I was just looking today. Mipo Adebeku, and then someone else commented on Twitter. He does follow Nigeria on Instagram, he follows England on Instagram, and he doesn't follow Ireland on Instagram. I know that's kind of like a stupid way of looking at it, but
it's a strange thing to do, isn't it? Like, yeah,
isn't that? I think that is a slight, especially for an 18-year-old as well. I feel like that's like it's becoming more and more in this social media thing. Is that like a slight indication of
something you'd see like you do in like fourth year or something like that? Like,
yeah.
I guess I know he is young and everything, but it's just strange behavior. Like, I mean, fair enough. He's pretty proud of his heritage, like from
absolutely
each place he's from, and if he wants to make that choice, but if he's making it over this, I just think it's a really strange decision. Like,
but just you mentioned that Omar Bamadile, he might be being courted away from Ireland, but that might be slightly beyond Kenny's mind on Thursday now, just to kind of cap him. And is it once he's capped, it
has to be a competitive game. It can't be a friendly.
Oh, of course, a friendly. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
play 3 friendlies for Ireland.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, my mistake. Yeah.
By the time September rolls around, though, he's probably like going to be one of our in contention to actually start for a competitive game. So that's
Stephen Kenny's got a fucking bag full of caps, just like fucking lads on fucking caps on lads. Like,
well, honestly, at this stage, I'd rather we do that now. Like, because look at what happened to us. Like, look at how different that situation would be. Like,
yeah. No, because it is something that has been touched on in terms of Odebeku, sorry, with Stephen Kenny has kind of got in touch with the agent directly, and I think it's been kind of said that he will be kind of nearly straight into the senior squad if he does decide to come back to Ireland. Just a quote here. It's gone a little bit stale at the minute with Odebeku. Stephen Kenny's been in touch with the agent. This is Jim Crawford talking. He himself has been in touch with the agent. They'll be sitting around the table and discussing what's the next steps for Mipo. Whatever decision is made, I just hope it's the right one for him because he's a good fella. Sometimes an agent does make great decisions for players. I just hope that whatever decision is made, it's the right decision for Mipo. He is a talent. He's played and scored goals with West Ham's 23s and the 18s. How sorry of a state of affairs does football get into where an agent decides what nationality you play for? Like,
I was just gonna say, like, it's always a worrying sign when he's talking through the agent, like, that always
that
worries
agent
me.
will look at it like an England international gets more signing on fees, his transfer value will be higher than an Irish player. That's just the realistic situation it is. Like,
you just hope he's like at his age, he's got good people around him. But by the sounds of it, like if he's someone in his ear like that making those decisions for him, he doesn't. Like, I mean, it should be entirely up to him and what he wants to do. But someone else like that shouldn't have an influence. Like,
Yeah. He just says here he stopped following England last week after the talks I heard, but the Super Eagles will offer him in the competitive squad so he can get in before the African Cup of Nations. I actually checked today and he is following England as of earlier today anyway. So I looked it up earlier today.
Follow again. Like,
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a tricky one. I think he's a very, very talented player, super quick striker, scores goals, and exactly the type of player we need realistically. We need players that can score goals. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't want to play for the country, I think we do have other strikers coming through, and if they're proud to wear the jersey, I'd personally I'd prefer that someone that I'm proud of to play for my country than someone who doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Me too.
You gave me Rice and Grealish right now. I'd take them. Like,
yeah, same.
It's really funny that tweet. I can't remember who put it up, but like me 1 hour ago. Who the fuck is Sammy Schmodix? Or like me now. I will die for this man. Like
yeah, literally, yeah. So funny, like. But yeah, I think we'll move on to the LOI chat, lads. But I think that was a good way to end the Ireland talk. The interesting one. We'll have to keep an eye on that over the next few months. Hopefully, I think it's one of those. I think Jim Crawford wants the situation just to be done soon, and just so it's not kind of a dragged on saga like the Rice situation. But yeah, the LOI will move on to. We're starting off with Finn Harps, who played host to Sligo Rovers. Romeo Parks scored. Tig's best mate scored in the 6th minute. Tunde Owalabi equalised for Finn Harps a minute later, and Lewis Banks scored the winner on 60 minutes for Sligo Rovers. Romeo Parks actually saw red after that in the 62nd minute, but they did see the game out. Ed McGinty made an unbelievable save. Not sure if any of you saw it. The last second from Sean Boyd. Unbelievable save. Turn a header wide. But a great 3 points for Sligo. Keep tipping away.
Yeah. Go for soccer.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. I never know which one was going to talk. Where are they now in the league? Of course they're top. Like, on top after Rovers. Yeah. Top by point. Like, I don't think there was many of us. Like, they had a decent transfer window, but I don't think there was any of us like predicted Sligo to be top, like a third way into the league. 9 wins, 4 draws, and a loss. Obviously, we saw Jordan Gibson obviously score that screamer at Dundalk a few weeks back, and like Liam Buckley just has to. Liam Buckley seems to have them just picking up results like left, right, and centre. They look really, really solid at the back, and really good going forward. And I suppose like it's a long season, like we're only third the way through, so the real test will be once we get to like next August, next September. We'll see where they are then. But like it's a fantastic start so far, and of course, I'm not sure who had a better night. It was a me or Ty get a better night. Oh no, was it Friday? Your bet.
Monday. It was Monday, I think.
Okay, fuck it then. Yeah, forget about that. Yeah, sorry.
Do you see Sligo last in the course, Tyke?
I don't know. It's tough. Like they've got some real quality in the squad, and like a very good manager, like an experienced league round manager, definitely could like keep it up there. They've looked more impressive than Rovers, to be honest. Like, but there is a long way to go. I think they're definitely. I don't want to make a prediction or like I'm going to kind of sit on the fence with it a little bit here, but I definitely think they have a real chance of going on and winning it. Like.
Yeah, for sure. I think Greg Bolger has been instrumental for them in midfield so far this season. He's been fantastic. I would worry if he picked up an injury and maybe one other player. I think you could maybe just to strengthen depth in the squad, possibly for the duration of the season. That might be an area of concern for Liam Buckley. He might look to strengthen an area or two mid-season. But I think starting 11 wise, they're right up there in terms of their strongest 11 compared to anyone in the league. And looking at what they went to Tala, I thought they were full value for the win against who will be their number one contenders for the title. So yeah, I think Sligo definitely will be in the title challenge come the end of the season if they can keep players fit and maybe add 1 or 2 in the mid-season. We all went for the away win in terms of the predictions, so we all picked up a point on the table. I think there's a lot of similar predictions this week. Moving on to the game where there was one difference actually in terms of prediction, and it was a good one for Liam Feeney, I believe. Drogheda 1, Derry 2. Will Patching scored 2 free kicks for Derry. The first one in the 10th minute, he caught out Odamosu with a great free kick to put them in front. Mark Doyle did equalise from the penalty spot after 62 minutes before Will Patching with another free kick 73 minutes in. Put Dundalk Derry 2-1 ahead. There was 2 red cards. Darren Cole, 81st minute, and Jordan Adiomo, 83 minutes. Will Patching on loan from Dundalk, lads, scoring twice. I think he scored a few goals for Derry this season. Dundalk might be looking to get him back.
They could do it at the moment. Just to kind of draw it at first, like I think they're after picking up a few iffy results the last few weeks. Like they are. There's only 5 points between kind of 4th place and 8th place, because I always say, but the swing of 1 or 2 games can be huge. Like I think, but it's Bohs Drogheda next. So like if Drogheda lose that, Bohs going to 5th, and Drogheda after a really good start, like you can kind of you always kind of expected them to just kind of start dropping off and finish kind of mid-table-ish, and your Dundalks and your Bohs to kind of overtake them as league as over the course of the year. But Derry have picked up some super results under Rory Higgins so far. I don't know how long that new manager bounce is lasting. It seems to be lasting a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great result.
Yeah, these are kind of results I think for Drogheda. Like if you want to be making that European push, which I mean, they would have bitten your hand off to even hear those words, I'd say, at the start of the season. But these are kind of results you need to be picking up. The likes of Bohs later on in the season will be picking up those wins. In terms of like the relegation battle, looks set at the bottom 2. Like there's a 10-point gap there, I think, between Derry and Longford, and 11 between them and Waterford. So great win for them, and kind of putting themselves a little bit at ease, I'd say.
Bit of daylight, yeah. I think it's a case of the bottom 2 battling it out. We'll get onto that in a bit. Just looking at the next, Liam was the only one who went for an away win here. Everyone else went for a draw in that game. Liam, the Maverick. Next up, St. Pat's 0, Dundalk 2. A bit of a shock result at Richmond Park. I don't think anyone saw that coming, but I think it's so crucial that Pat Hoban played in this game, and he was such a difference. He didn't score, but he made such a difference for Dundalk. He gives them so much more going forward, and he's I think for my money, he's still the best striker in the league. Dundalk just lost without him, and I think if they can keep him fit, they will eventually rise up the table. Sam Bone own goal after 32 minutes, and then David McMillan sealed it for Dundalk after 51. Great win for Dundalk. Well, I think that's, I don't make a huge statement Pats are in the title race, but it is concerning if for Pats they wanted to try and keep the pace at the top, and it is a concerning loss if they wanted to do so.
So go on.
I was just gonna say, like, even with the off-field issues with Dundalk, I think, like you said, Pat Hoban, like Duffy and McMillan, and then there is still some real quality in that squad, and they're gonna pick up results. I mean, they just kind of have to get everything else sorted if they want to have like a successful season. But it's not. It is after a disastrous start, getting a result like that is huge against someone who's talking about a title race like for the last couple of weeks. Pat's. You'd like to kind of capitalise on them, on Dundalk's poor results, but I mean, slipping a bit in the last couple of weeks. It is a long way to go, but yeah, you definitely do see them slipping out of that race, and it looks like it's going to be between Rovers and Sligo, or Shannon Rovers and Sligo.
The battle of the Rovers.
Yeah. Like, to be honest, the League of Ireland just keeps on surprising me. Like when I saw Bohs beat Dundalk 5-1 4 days before that game, like I couldn't see Dundalk picking up another point for the rest, like 25 odd games there was left in the league. Like, but it just keeps on surprising you, and like no one would have bet on Dundalk after that result. Picking up a result against anyone, never mind Pats, who have been absolutely flying. Bar the odd iffy result, they've kind of dropped off, and kind of Rovers have overtaken them. Obviously, but I think Pat Hoban's crucial for them. I don't think he came on. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I don't think he came on at all.
It was his first game back. Yeah.
I don't think he came on versus Bohs at all. His first game back against Pats, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been crucial for them. Like you said it before, like they just need that focal point. Up front, like they're not bad at the back. They're okay in the middle, but once they get the ball in the final third, they just have like no idea, no plan. They don't know where to go, what to do at all. Kind of could be concern enough for Pats. You think that they're especially Dundalk, the form they're in at the moment, they're the type of results you kind of want to keep the pace with both the Rovers teams. So yeah, mad result.
Yeah, for sure.
Dundalk
We all
still
went.
on the list, of course.
Yes. Well, I think it's a talk Jim McGilton staying on until the end of the season apparently now. So
Was there? No way.
I think they're right. Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah, it's crazy to be honest. Crazy situation. We all went for a draw. Oh, sorry, it wasn't a draw. We all went for a home win here. No surprises there. Liam went for the draw, so he missed out on that. So no one picked up any points there. Pat Hoban is being looked at by Linfield. So if he stays past this summer, is a different story. Which would be massive loss. To talk of Chris Shields going up north as well, I think. So yeah, the two of them they need to keep hold of, absolutely. Next up, Bows picked up a great 3-0 win against Waterford. Two of the goals they scored were fantastic as well. Really well worked team moves, like passing the ball around from back to front. Waterford, not an awful lot about them in fairness. Dawson Devoy opened the scoring after 37 minutes. Ross Tierney doubled it after 40, and Andy Lyons sealed the 3 points on 70 minutes. Comfortable enough, easy to predict kind of home win. We all went for the home win as well. You couldn't have really saw, like, I don't think anyone would have predicted an upset here, but a good win nonetheless for both to keep some momentum going after the Dundalk win.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was always going to take a little bit of time, I think, for them to start clicking up top, and the amount of change that they've had. But Keith Long always manages to find a way, and I mean, Waterford, they're really struggling now, but still, at the end of the day, it's still a decent win. You know, there's no easy games in this league, I don't think.
Yeah.
So yeah, a huge 3 points, and in terms of Waterford, you just can't really see them finishing anywhere other than 10th or 9th now.
For sure.
Yeah, like every time I've seen Waterford this year, like they've been just like absolutely hopeless. I think it's their 4th or 5th manager in the space of 12 months. So you'd really, really worry about them. I think it's like 2 wins and 12 losses in 14 games so far. Like, so you definitely cannot see them getting out of the bottom 2, to be honest. Like the best they're kind of hoping for is the second from bottom finish, and then probably nick something in the playoff. But for Bo's point of view, kind of if you started the season, and as Tyke said, it was always going to take a bit of time to get going. Like they were playing really good football and just coming out the wrong side of a few kind of 1-goal results. Conceding. I was talking to a Bo's fan today, and he said I think it's 7 times this season they've conceded in like 90 plus minutes. I think 2 other times it was like 85 onwards. So like that I think that's 8 or 9 goals from the 85th minute onwards. They seem to have an awful habit of it. So, but after the Dundalk win, and obviously beating Waterford, things kind of are starting to click for them now. And just looking at the table, like they've Drogheda next Friday next week, and they can leapfrog them into 4th then. And from then you can definitely see them getting a European spot. So yeah, it's going in the right direction. I think Georgie Kelly's crucial to them. Ali Coote and Liam Bird either side of him, you know. So yeah, it's going well for them. Yeah,
definitely. We all went for the home win there, as I said. So yeah, no major shocks. The final, actually, yeah, just lastly on Waterford, actually, the fact that they have Longford there, I think Mark Burkham can take comfort in that. In fact, that like Waterford have been so poor that they're only 1 point off being in that playoff spot. So I think the aim for them is to finish 9th, and I think if they do back the manager to get a few players in, I think they might do that as well, and possibly give them some money to get a couple of players in. I think they definitely will. It would be tight between them and Longford, but they definitely will have eyes on that 9th place, and it's definitely possible that they can achieve, I think. And speaking of Longford, how unlucky were they, lads?
Oh my God. So you were sick.
Yeah, at 5-5 on a Longford double chance to return 20 quid. Like just a little cheeky one. I thought I'd sealed it. Like Rory Gaffney in the 95th minute.
95th minute. Like how many goals is that for them in added time this year?
At least 3,
Four, I'd
possibly
say.
4. Yeah, 4. Maybe it could be 5. Like
Definitely 3. It could be 4. Yeah.
yeah. So like
Ridiculous.
draw it out.
I
Longford
thought I
twice
had
actually. It's the second
something.
time at Longford as well.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like teams like Longford are the teams that you expect Rovers to be beaten, like comfortably. An extra, like if that chance gets sliced or something like that, it's a nil draw. But Longford wouldn't be looking good for them. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously keep saying it's a long way to go, and you're gonna, as you can see, Sligo are gonna be dropping points. Do you know what I mean? Throughout the season, but those are the kind of games you really expect them to be hammering them, even like with the form we know they can produce, like in the players that they have. So bit of
Absolutely.
a strange one, but I mean, at the end of the day, they got the 3 points, and we keep saying, I mean, these are the wins you need to get when it's not going well, and you still come out with the 3 points. It's a good sign.
Yeah. I think you can only get away with it for so long though. Like we said that after the Sligo game as well. Like they're actually not playing particularly well. Like they can't keep getting these late winners. Like they should have dropped a lot more points than they have done this season. And yeah, I think they need to start beating teams more comprehensively, to be honest.
Yeah, like it's exciting, and you're overjoyed when like a last minute winner goes in and the relief, but like kind of looking at from a long season point of view, you don't want to be making a habit of that, and they seem to be a little bit. On the one hand,
drop points, like
on the one hand, you're like, oh, it shows great like character and never give up attitude, but when you're playing, no disrespect, but the likes of Longford, like all the quality Rovers have, like you want to be putting them games to bed, you know.
No, absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, like if you're still winning the games, it's almost like what do you fix? You know, like don't fix what isn't broken. But at the same time, it isn't really working because I mean, you shouldn't be winning games in the 93rd minute every time, or even getting equalizers or whatever it is. It's not a good sign.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, yeah, and it will come. It will bite them, and it's kind of bit them already in a couple of results. The Sligo result, I think did they lose before that? Yeah, St. Pat's. Was it St. Pat's?
They were blessed against
Dundalk even
against Bows.
Yes,
I mean that was never a penalty and then a red card as well. So the game
never a penalty.
Yeah. That was easily could have seen Bows getting 3 points or definitely a draw out of that game. Like, but so yeah, I think it is coming around like and biting them a little bit, but you definitely can see them adapting and kind of like with Sligo are going to drop points as well. And it is going to be like an interesting title race, I think, compared to last season. Like it was nothing there really. Like
yeah, and actually, yeah, it's worth noting as well that they are missing 6 or 7 first team players at the moment. Yeah, their whole bench was full of kids actually at the weekend, so that is a good point. And yeah, they do have a lot of injuries at the moment, so that is worth bearing in mind. And then when they get the likes of Richie Tell into the side, as well as all these first teamers coming back in, they'll definitely, yeah, they'll be. I'd still probably tip them for the lead, to be honest, if I had to pick somebody, just because of the strength and depth that they have to come back into the side, and Richie Tell as well. Yeah. That's just such a baller move to have coming in halfway through the season. Like, in terms of the prediction table, then going into the mid-season break, lads, we have Ross out in front with 40 points, Liam and Tig joint in second with 37, Socko in fourth with 32, and Griff in fifth with 30 points on the board. Happy enough, lads, with where you're there?
Yeah, not too bad. There's a couple of ones I lean on the fence, but yeah, I think 37 is not too bad of a score. I mean, Ross is the expert, so
it's not 3 points. You can make that up, like.
I'd say I'm gonna just keep going with kind of favourites and stuff for now. But come the end of the season, could be some dodgy picks coming up. Like
throw a few wild ones in.
Yeah, I think I'm doing a Dundalk at the moment. I've had a poor start of the season, starting to pick up a few results now. A lot of bored discontent, but I'm hoping to just catch up the next few weeks. It's a gap, but it's doable, you know.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's a 38 game season. It's a 38.
Exactly.
36.
Yeah, no, 36. Yeah. Like realistically, 8 is a lot to make up. But even 5 on third, But like you never know. Like you can't write you off. Like long way to go. Long way to go. You might have to throw a few wild ones in as well, Socko, next round.
Wait until Socko sends his picks, and then Ross is going to pick Socko's picks all the time.
Yeah.
Can't get
Match
caught.
everyone's picks the rest of the season. But we'll finish off, lads, by looking at the league table as it stands after 14 games going into the 2-week break. So we'll start from the bottom. We've got Waterford and Longford Town 10th and 9th, and it's really become a kind of a 2-horse race there at the bottom. I think the rest of the sides are safe, no danger of going down. It's between those two, isn't it?
Definitely, I think so. Like, I can't really see it. Don't really have the quality to get out of there. Like, especially with the gap that's already there now. Like, even if they start picking up a few results, it's gonna take an awful lot to get out of there. Like,
100%.
You can see it kind of evening out over the course of the season. Come August, September, like you'd imagine it'd be Sligo Rovers, maybe Bows, and then Pats and fourth. Maybe you'd expect Drogheda and Dundalk. Derry to some extent. I have a little bit of a feeling about Derry, kind of mid-table, and then who does that leave? Longford, Waterford, in the bottom two. Then
it is tight, isn't it?
Like that. It kind of it's a little bit. It sounds a little bit unfair, but like Longford have been so unlucky with them two, having Rovers to the wire in them 2 games, coming out the wrong side of a few kind of tight results, and Waterford, who've been pretty much like abysmal so far this year. But if they nick 9th place and just win the playoff, they'll stay up. But kind of that's how it is. But you do really worry for Waterford and Longford.
Yeah. I think looking at the mid-table battle, I think Derry City, Finn Harps will probably be in and around the 8th to 6th zone. Dundalk possibly will push up towards maybe a top half finish. Maybe you'd expect Drogheda to ever so slightly drop down, maybe towards that 6 to 8 zone. St. Pat's, are they at 6 points off Sligo, 5 points off Rovers? It's a bit of ground building there, but I think if you offered Pat's third at the start of the season, they'd be absolutely delighted with that. It is definitely progress, but they can't wipe them out of the battle just yet. I know it only takes a couple of results for things to turn around. We've just seen that, but at the moment, it looks like the 2 Rovers sides to battle it out for the title.
Does 4th place get a conference spot?
Yes, I think it's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, or is it 2nd, 3rd, and 4th? I think something like that. I think it's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th tier conference.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I need to double check it with the new conference league. I suppose it's been
our coefficients are like really bad, so I think like the only chance we have of like getting people into the Europa League and stuff now is through the person finished first, or else like we have to start performing in Europe. Like it's probably unlikely to happen.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just worth mentioning before I forget that there's no games this Friday, but the Friday after, I think it's the 11th. Shamrock Rovers are home to Finn Harps, and I can't remember the number, but it's a trial test event for fans in the stadium. Is it 500? I can't remember the number, to be honest.
500,
yeah. Hopefully, like one of us get to that. Hopefully, interview a few fans because we've missed it a lot. But it'd be great to see fans back in the stadium, the League of Ireland for once.
Yeah, 100%. So it's interesting looking at the league table now. Going into it, it's just it's one of those, isn't it, where it's kind of going to be interesting to see how the next 5 or so games play out, and I think we'll have a better idea then of where things will lie come the end of the season. I think it will start to everyone will kind of find their place in 5 to 6 games time. But we have a few comments coming in about Mark Burkham there. Lenny loved his honesty in the interview after the game. He does seem like an honest bloke, in fairness, doesn't he? That serious character, and I think he's probably the type of bloke that could get something going at Waterford, but this is hard to know at the moment just because of how much quality they lack within their actual squad. 4 Dundalk players are going to be going up north. Patrick McElhenney, Pat Hoban, Chris Shields to the NIFL, and the 2 Derry lads heading home at the end of the year. It's going to be interesting to see how the kind of mid-season kind of any transfer dealings go on at Dundalk, because they could definitely do with a few. I think wasn't Jim McGilton was saying something about players lacking quality. He really kind of called them out and said a lot of players lacking quality here.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised to hear you say that there's rumours of him lasting the full season. When after Bowes on Monday night, I think the quote was, "We need a really good ridden." And he said, if your performance is a reflection of the manager, then I'm in a really fucking dark place. He said. So yeah,
So
mad,
yeah, absolutely gas. Well, I think we probably will do a preview, a certain 11 prediction for the Andorra and Hungary games at Lads, won't we? And then I'm not sure if we do a watch long. We'll see how we're fixed close to the time. We might do one. Don't know if I want to do a watch long. To be perfectly honest,
I'll be watching it on my own. Like.
Yeah, I won't be watching. Yeah, I won't be watching it at all. Like, but we'll see. We might do one. Maybe we'll see. If we don't beat Andorra, it's time to go.
Absolutely.
I'm saying to the lads in work that after Saturday's fucking being magic, that I come out for Ireland to bring me back down to earth on Thursday. Like it was a good point. I know it's friendly. Like, no, it was a good draw.
Progress. We're getting closer to it.
We just need to go and hammer a team like that. Like that's why I'm kind of worried if he's playing like a few lads that don't normally play international football, aren't like an unbelievable. Well, no one is a really good standard, but like aren't like a Premier League or Championship standard. Like if we don't go and hammer someone like that, like the mood, like in
Andorra proper minnows, aren't they? Like
they're 150 odd in the world, yeah.
Like
actually, because
you need to be hammering them. Like
they're kind of like San Marino level, aren't they? Like it's kind of similar.
Yeah, that kind of size.
158th. There you go.
Yeah, not much. You wouldn't expect them to have many danger men or anything like.
Just
quickly here, actually, Philly McMahon joined the back team for Bowes for motivation and fitness as well, isn't it? I think.
Bit of a medal. He's got that winning mentality, I suppose. So
absolutely. It's a maverick choice.
Fucking handy for Philly, like they're both training the same place as the Dubs, like in DCU. So you might have Dubs train and then just fucking do a little half an hour with Bowes afterwards. Handy for him.
Collect the paycheck. Happy days.
A few Bowes.
I think that's everything we touched on in today's video. We'll have a future star video on maybe this week. I'm not sure with the Ireland stuff. We might not do one this week, possibly not. But we will have some Andorra Ireland previews, Hungary Ireland previews, and all that good stuff. So make sure to stick around for that. Please do drop a like on the stream. I hope you did enjoy it. Hope you get to enjoy whatever's left of the sunshine today. Please do subscribe as well. I'm not sure if we're close to that target, 2,640. Hopefully we're edging ever closer. But do really appreciate you guys tuning in. Socko, Tig, absolute pleasure as always.
Cheers,
thanks, lads. Cheers.
Nice one. Talk to you in a bit.